Hello, my name is Jackie, and I'm a work skills instructor here in St. Francis House Workforce Development. Thank you for joining our weekly webinars. Today's webinar is on goal planning. Today you're going to be seeing how to identify strengths, acknowledging barriers, and building a plan for progress. There are two types of goal settings: short-term goals and long-term goals. A short-term goal can last less than 12 months. All goals are either personal, health, or towards a career. In the process of doing these goals, they become a routine. And then lastly, you learn from this process because you can see what works, what doesn't work, and if you have to change your goal. Long-term goals require a lot of time. In order to achieve the goal, there needs to be planning. And within this planning, sometimes there are smaller goals that are achievable, and that's how you obtain the long-term goal. Today, you'll learn how to create a SMART goal. A SMART goal is specific, measurable, appropriate or attainable, realistic, and time-sensitive. Now it's time to identify your strengths. During challenging or unfamiliar situations, you have grown because you overcame them. So during those times, it's great to know what was your strength. During this time, that's when you had confidence and motivation, and that's a strength that can be used to achieve goals. It also starts as a starting point for setting realistic goals. And it can also be used to identify vocational interests. For example, I'm good with people can translate into a career where you serve others. Here are some questions that can help you identify your strengths. What am I doing when I am at my best? What comes easily and naturally to me? What excites me and gets me energized? What did I love to do as a child? If you are unsure of how to answer these questions, imagine asking someone you know and care about to answer them for you. What would they say? Or ask them to fill out these questions for you. That way you can have a discussion and see why they think of you that way. In order to achieve our goals, we need to acknowledge our strengths. Strengths are intrinsic qualities or characteristics that you currently possess. What strengths do you have that are going to help you achieve the goal you just listed? In order to achieve our goals, we also need to know our barriers. Barriers are circumstances or obstacles that keep people from making progress. And this often directly impacts your ability to reach short-term and long-term goals. Now we're going to look at some barriers. Some of these barriers take longer time to break through, and they will make your short-term goal into a long-term goal, depending on the length of time it takes for you to grow and pass this barrier. Here are a list of barriers that you can think about or that you didn't take into consideration when you were thinking of your goal. Now that you know your strengths and your barriers, it's time to build a plan. You have to formulate the steps you will take to put your short-term goals into action. Now here are some things to think about. Will I need assistance connecting to a resource or person? Do I have what I need to accomplish my goal? Have I already taken steps towards my goal? So these are some things to consider. Now here are some examples of SMART goals. In the next 2 weeks, I will set up an appointment to apply for SNAP benefits. As you can see, it doesn't just say, I want to apply for SNAP benefits. It is more specific and has a measurable time, and it's relevant. In the next 2 weeks, I will set up an appointment to apply for SNAP benefits. By the end of this training program, I will have saved at least $100. So this is specific and measurable. In the next month, I will set up an appointment with a therapist, and in 6 weeks, I will have a regular mindfulness practice. Here's another examples of long-term goals. In 3 years, I would like to be living in my own place. Now, this is a long-term goal, but within this goal, there are smaller goals that you need to practice. By next year, I want to have reconnected with my daughter. By the time I'm 30, I want to have graduated with an associate's degree in hotel restaurant management. All these goals have smaller goals that need to be accomplished before this big goal. Let's look at an example of a goal. Before you saw this webinar, you may have thought, I want a job. Time passes and you think, oh, next week, I'll get to it when I can, I'm busy. So time passes and your goal keeps getting pushed back. You don't have a resume, and the resume is very much important in order to apply for a job. You haven't done any research, but you know you want a job, so you apply to jobs. You just apply to anything that you find, Craigslist, Indeed, anything. And you're not checking your email. Most people, most of the time, they call or do emails because there's another step that needs to take, or they just want to verify more information. Maybe you are checking your email, but you're getting discouraged because they're not responding and you stop applying. So this is an example of a regular goal. Now let's break it down into a SMART goal. Remember, a SMART goal is simple, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. So let's turn this into a SMART goal. I want a job. Okay, so here's a few questions that you can ask yourself. Do I have a resume? Do I know how to apply for jobs? What are my strengths? Do I have an email connected to this phone? What job do I want? Do I know job search websites? So here are examples of how to change the goal, I want a job, into a SMART goal. This month, I will learn how to create a resume by researching resumes on my phone once a week. This week, I will call or text Peter to see if he has time to help me on the computer. If he doesn't, I will reach out to Sarah, Tim, and Billy. This month, once a week, I will take 30 minutes and write down what my interests are in a job setting. So instead of having a vague goal, I want a job, these SMART goals break it down and are achievable in order for you to keep going. Please feel free to visit this website because they give good examples of short-term goals. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to give us a call at 617-654-1257 or send us an email at wfdinfo@stfrancishouse.org. Thank you.